look at the charts and some of the divinations that practice, let's say that their practice can only take place in astrology by what is written in the Bible. They don't really have any power in the stars unless it's through a favored one by an archangel. But the king, who was with the two churches, Delphi and Penelope, there at the beginning in the true vine, with the wisdom of Adam and Eve, the very creation that separated us from God through childbirth and being born in the flesh as an antichrist, but it's your own choice what you do in this world. The two stones of slavery. Jacob, slavery of judgment, and Joseph, slavery of salvation. Jacob being with Malachi, and Joseph being with Jesus, and Herod, the pig king, or Herod of Circe, the pig queen. But the unclean flesh is, how do I explain it? The Ark of the Covenants is all living species, every male and female alpha that is the only ones punished. If you crossbreed, you are no longer a full breed. Even if you are an alpha, you may have a smaller amount of punishment. You are dead from God and cut from the heavenly realms that succeed judgment through the two churches and equalism. When I say what is equal, it is better not to act in the law when something has come against you, because you pay for your own reflection. What comes in belongs to them, but what comes out belongs to you, and it won't never belong to anybody else. God doesn't necessarily. The stars are in a union of darkness, and in the world we have been set free by the covenants of Abraham and Odin, the bull with the livestock that is able to carry the Ark of the Covenants. It's the same as the horse centaur, who is able to carry the Ark of the Covenants, known as the king of the constellations in Orion. They say that there's 8, and then they say there's 9 of Delphi and Penelope, but I find it to be 12 with Delphi, and only 8 with Penelope. And Odin, who raised up the darkness, and Orion, who raised up the darkness. Orion being in the family genre of Abraham, one of the forefathers in the beginning of our presidencies in American country. If you act in according to a law of practice, it may return back onto you one day, even if only in spirituality. Even if they are in the wrong. Remember, I said you take in that bad stuff that either A, they can't handle, or their intentions are simply to corrupt you, and you spit out bad stuff, and sometimes you can't help it. This is the term of acting in the presence of thy likeness. Don't practice law with your prayers. If I am one who is able to shepherd with the two stones of Jacob and Joseph of slavery, judgment, and salvation. Those are the two stones of God's promise in everlasting life. And it's with the two churches of Delphi and Penelope. There in the very beginning of creation, from the very ground, from the very roots of the earth, and raised up with Adam and Eve, who had consummated childbirth, known to be the first woe, and then dying and rebirth. Dying being falling from heaven, or actually dying and leaving a large amount of unsalvaged spirits behind that claims a part of the rebirth favored in an archangel. It's not necessarily righteous law or righteous thing to carry somebody else's grave for them. It's just you have no choice. It's a slavery of judgment and a slavery of salvation. Most people don't know these things and aren't awake to the reality of the matrix, where we are, in some religions, we are hunted as the first alphas, every male and female, the firstborns, alphas, every male and female. Only full breeds are awake to it in the eyes, in the mind, and in the heart. And when we mix breeds, we are no longer, we're slowly cutting our natural self from our natural birth, from the very beginning of Adam and Eve, and growing more and more and more into darkness. That is the only mixed breed that we can go into, is darkness. We either go into something that's brown or something that is dark. Eventually it will turn into a darkness, mixed breeding, and we kill ourselves from God completely, and we no longer have those stones of judgment and salvation that is to give us everlasting life in the stars, a fuel to feed off of spiritually, something that is a gift. And those that know it's a gift, they come and try and corrupt you purposely. Some of them do and some of them don't. There are some people that really, they can't carry it, and they have no choice but to seek a Savior. But the blessing is in God understanding us as we salvage and speak as great speakers, and making us strong enough to carry them that aren't quite strong enough for them to overcome, who come to corrupt us and destroy us and defile us. But the damsel above, who comes and drinks with us the blood that we share in Genesis 9 with the very earth, from every species of every kind. And they have purity in the great speaker that had been chosen by the archangel, and Hercules, the protector of the Adam's apple, who is given himself upon this earth. And it was said that he killed his whole family and said there are no more covenants. Only an alpha male or female on the ark of Noah can give a covenant, and it's really not a wise thing to do. But it would only be a covenant between full breeds. It cannot be, the covenant won't exist in heaven by a dark breed unless he had been ordained by an archangel. So this is the spoken piece of everybody for their understanding. I hope you can hear most of it, but I'm in a noisy place, and God bless.